From being in prison at 18 years old to hitting rock bottom at 36, this is a story from Tommy Breedlove. He is the founder of Live Legendary, a coaching community that is helping empowering people across the globe to become the best versions of themselves, not just in business, but in life, forming a community that's taking people to the next level. This podcast was exceptional. This is one of raw vulnerability, transparency from a man who's striving for growth every single day. Enjoy. As entrepreneurs, we all experience challenges in our business journey. I'm Joe Testori, and the Grappling Growth podcast is my attempt at documenting my entrepreneurial journey while building my brands. I sit down with fellow entrepreneurs, understanding how they grapple with growth. I hope you find value and enjoy. Tommy, pleasure to have you on the podcast.
Joe, I've enjoyed our conversation to date. So very, very excited to jump in, talk all things grappling, all things Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and all things entrepreneurship, brother. I'm excited to be here, man.
Here we are. Tommy, my first question is, what does growth look like to you?
So growth to me starts with myself. And so I believe one of the pillars that I live in my life is always learning and growing and knowing that I'll never get to the destination. And so for me, it starts with prioritizing my number one asset, and that's my time, energy, and attention. And so for me, I spend a significant portion of my day studying, listening, and learning to business, leadership, success, but also mindset, personal development, leadership development, and et cetera. So it's important to me when I talk about growing, to me, it starts with growing me and growing everything that I stand for and everything that I want to be. And always knowing that I've learned a lot, but it seems like the more I learn, the more I grow, whether it's in business or life, the less I truly know. And there's always someone, something, or something out there that I need to grow. So for me, that's where growth starts. And for me, it's about learning and being on the side of growth, abundance, and learning to be better than I was yesterday. So that, to me, that's what growth means to me, my friend. What about you, Joe?
That's a beautiful explanation. My view of growth is not the classic 1% better every day. It's about being holistic and always looking at, am I doing something that's advancing my life? And I believe we're either static or we're advancing. And I hate when I'm going to sleep and I feel as though I've just wasted a day. And that's why for me, vacations, I can get very bored of sitting on a beach. I mean, I just personally don't do it. I might do it for an hour if, as you said, you're with a significant other or friends, but I'm just twiddling my thumbs. And I think growth for me is just feeling as though you've just challenged yourself in a layer of your life. And it's not about focusing on one area. It's about being a generalist and broad, holistic with what you're doing. I'm curious. There was one thing that I wanted to touch upon with what you said about the mentality you mentioned there. Can you pinpoint a time in your life where that became the way how you thought about growth? Or is this something that you've had since you were a child?
No, it's quite the opposite, actually. I grew up not only with a poverty mindset, but in what we call here in the States, lower middle class. I wouldn't call ourselves poor, and that's not an insult. Some people grow up with absolutely nothing, depending on, I know where you are in the world and where I'm in the world. I would probably 2 levels above that. We never had to fight for shelter, food, or safety, for lack of a better word. But we had really no money to do anything extra. My parents would basically say, you work, work is something you do. It's not something you are. And so grew up on the other side of the tracks, for lack of a better word, and made a huge mistake when I was 18 years old. I thought I was going to be the first person in my family to go to university. I had a lot of scholarships offered to me to a lot of great universities in the Southeast. And unfortunately, I grew up in and around a lot of violence. And at 18 years old, committed a violent crime and was charged with 2 felonies and looking at 7 years in prison. And then I'll get to where the growth mindset actually happened. And luckily, it was the charges were dropped down a little bit, but I ended up spending 2 years, actually sentenced to 2 years, spending a little less than that. And in that, I met a mentor, an African-American gentleman. And so very rare that here in the United States that someone crosses racial lines to help someone of a different race, but he did. He was in his 40s. I was 18 years old which is a young buck at a best. And then he was like, he called me young blood, said, young blood, you're not going to become a part of this revolving door system. So he was probably the second true mentor I had in my life from
Who was the
accountability.
first?
My grandfather who passed away right before that. And so those are the only two really positive male influences I had in my life that really challenged me, that really wanted me to get in sport and grow. But he wanted me not to become a part of the prison system here in the US. So with his help and guidance, I went to work. I got out, went to work for a factory, put myself through school at night, ended up in a university, was hired by a big financial firm called Deloitte at a university. And if you fast forward 15 years, I thought with hard work, finding financial success and business success and just being world class and kick some ass, that I was going to be happy, fulfilled, and my whole life, my life's dreams were going to be accomplished. And there I was at 36, had the corner office, the tailored suit, the pretty girl on my arms, the nice watch, all the things. But I was still this angry, insecure, scared boy because I never dealt with any of those things as a young man. So when that didn't light me up, I turned to the Wolf of Wall Street, Law Street. This is a long answer, but I'm getting to the point. Found myself, so at 18, had a huge turning event. At 36, I found myself in a ditch in downtown Atlanta in the morning, not knowing how I got there, half dressed, not in good shape, looking at the sky and said, hey, man, I don't know if I'm going to get a third shot at this thing called life. And clearly, the only problem I have in my life is me. And I got to work on me, figuring out why I think this way, why I believe what I believe, and let's rewire me. So at that point, with great coaching, with me taking personal accountability, me saying no more will I feel this way. No more will I act this way. No more will I not be Tommy. And at that point, I made the commitment to, from here on out, I'm just going to be me, a better version of me. And it was at that point when I started learning from life coaches, executive coaches, great therapists. I started firing all of the negative human being. I was that negative human. So you attract what you are, right? And so I had all of these, negative human beings in my life. And it was at that point that I started learning and growing and found self-confidence, found clarity, found peace of mind and a sense of freedom. But at that point is when I started consuming every amount of business, leadership, professional development, personal development content I could. I always wanted to invest in coaches. My time, money, and energy I invested in people to help me. I just surrounded myself with people who were going in the direction I wanted to go, and I was okay with being me. So at 36, and now to give you context, I'm 51 years old now. But for the past 16 years, I've really focused on growth. I've really focused on self-love, self-leadership, self-respect. I really focused on being as aware as I can be and being as humble as I can be. But it was a 36-year journey of destruction, etc., before I decided enough, and I'll make this commitment to move forward and to be me. And so the journey has been the last 15 years. So that's a lot. No, I was not born with it, and I had an angry, fear-based poverty, worried about being judged, and candidly let other people influence me, my choice, my accountability, to not be the person that I was born to be. So it took time and pain, brother. Talk about grappling with challenges. There's some grappling with challenges right there.
Wow, there's a lot to dissect there, and many different questions and avenues and facets. I'm curious, your mentor, what was his name?
His name was Tony, and he was in his 40s and called me young blood.
What do you think attracted yourself? So Tommy, 18, Tony, what brought you together in prison? What do you think was about that? Because you mentioned people of different races didn't really cross, but he saw
Not
you
really.
through. That's the young blood. Why? What do you think attracted you to him?
That would be a better question for him. I don't know. Um, he had to have seen something in me. Clearly, I was not like the rest of the people I was younger. That's lions, and I was a sheep, right? There's lions in there, man. And so I don't know. I think in his words, and this is all speculation and conjecture. So this is just my guess.
Mhm.
Uh, and based on it's been a long time now. We're going on 30 plus years. He was at a stage in his life. He had young children. He was in his 40s. He had started to settle down. He had been in and out of the system his whole life. So it was nothing new to him. And so for him, I think it was a way of him giving back. Maybe this is a way to start being a father, a mentor, a man, for lack of a better word, as opposed to an angry boy. And angry boys are dangerous, man. There's a big difference between being a man and an angry boy. And I think it was a way for him to mentor, to hold account, to do something special, and to honestly start being a mentor and angel in somebody's life. So I think this is again a guess, I think he received as much as he gave. And I think he really did want to help a young man that he saw some sort of qualities in. And it's hard for me to see anything that I was quality in myself back at that time. But I think if I had to put a guess on it, he saw something in me. But I think any mentor or giving or relationship that you form out of wanting to serve or help someone, I think he received as much as he gave. And so that would be a pure guess, my friend.
If you were to summarize your time in prison those 2 years with one word, what word would you choose on reflection? There we go.
If I had to choose one word, it ended up not being 2 years. So it was, thankfully, it was significantly less than that, but it was long enough not to ever want to go back. How about that? So when you lose your freedom and dignity, it's by your own choices. So it was my choice that got me there, my poor choices that got me there. If I had to sum it up, I don't want to say anything cliche. Looking back on it now, it was the beginning of a transformation. It was transformational. You know real quick what you want and don't want. And the reason it's transformational is there's no, other than death, and war, and certainly those places are a form of war internally as much as externally. And I don't want to equate those two together because no one was shooting at me every day and I wasn't losing friends, but other things were going on there. I would say transformational because at that point I knew I'd never wanted to come back, and you couldn't go any lower. And imagine being an 18-year-old boy who knows he's getting out of his old neighborhood, who is going to go somewhere no one in his family's ever gone, to these beautiful universities here in the States. I had my pick to go which one I wanted to go to. And all of that, because of a bad choice, was taken away in a heartbeat, right? In seconds, because of a bad choice. And I see it time and time again in the work that I do now, that one poor choice can lead to a lot of severe consequences. And so it was transformational. It was the beginning of a transformation that I couldn't see right now. And I could have used it. And thank goodness I wasn't in an era of social media and cancellation culture and all the nonsense that happens, where every mistake someone does is shot out to the world. Luckily, I didn't have to deal with that because I had a choice to make. Either I'm going to move forward or not. And I chose to move forward, and I chose to, with his help, with his mentorship, with his accountability, to go get a job in a factory during the day and put myself through a small college at night. And so transformational is what I would say. And it sounds a little cliche, but if I had to sum it up, it has to be. It has to be. And I have zero regrets other than hurting someone. But it got me to here. And it got that person to there. And luckily, we're both have moved on and are better for it in both of our lives. So transformational, brother, it'd be my humble one word.
Well said. I really hope there's someone out there that can listen to that message, whether they've gone through the justice system or maybe they're just not where they want to be. Maybe it's a different kind of rock bottom. Maybe they've turned to drinking or drugs or alcohol or whatever, a vice, let's just say, and they can see that. And you hear a lot of stories similar to yours, and hopefully those people, it's very hard when you're not on the other side to look at how it's going to be upon reflection and how the transformation is going to happen. So I appreciate you being vulnerable, transparent, and open with people so they can hear your summary there. You spoke about that next chapter of working at the corner office. Then you're essentially in a gutter at 36. Essentially, halfway through your life again, there's a second renaissance, so to speak. So I'm curious, what did that look like? Why then did you say, I'm not going to get another chance at this? This is where I've invested in my personal development, mentorship, coaching. You've got those two role models before your grandfather and then the guy in prison. Now you're in this place where you're saying, okay, I'm here again. Now I really need to make a change. And was it a case that you found your wife after that? Or what did life look like then in the rebuild?
So my life on the outside looked fabulous. It looked absolutely like this guy's got the whole world at his feet. Again, on the outside, all of the Western trappings of success, money, title, status, respect, corner office, nice car, fancy watch, beautiful girl. I was married, still am, to the same woman. So here we are. We're on 31 years this year. All in, about 24 married, but 31 together. So that's pretty amazing. But all the trappings of success, but there's a saying that wherever you go, there you are. And I never dealt with the violence that I experienced as a young man, as a boy. I never dealt with the severe abuses of all forms that happened inside and outside of the home. I never dealt with that anger and rage. I never dealt with the fear and insecurity. And so, money's a magnifying glass and success is a magnifying glass, and you can use it for incredible impact and legacy and significance, or you can use it to just try to buy or numb your way out of whatever situation you feel. And so that really answer your question is, why did I say right then? It's because I think on some weird level that I was unconsciously / consciously trying to kill myself or letting someone else do it for me. In the situations that I was putting myself in, the rage that I felt, the numbing, I just didn't want to feel and I didn't want to remember. And so I think fear and saying enough, and I don't like the way I'm feeling. I don't like the way I am. And let me tell you, you said something powerful, and I need to pause, and I'll let you ask another question here in a second, Joe. This is your show. So of course you're going to ask questions, but there's something that's important that as I started the journey, and you said something really important, it doesn't matter what your story is. It doesn't matter what mistake you made or what addiction you're facing, or you could have just made a bad choice and had an integrity breach. You made a choice out of whatever decision you made that wasn't in your core value system. You might have lost it all money-wise. But I think it's important for people to hear this right now, because now everything is escalated to a whole new level with exposure, right? Where, people can go out there and troll you and cancel you and criticize you and judge you. But at the end of the day, no matter what you've done, what you've been through, or what you're going through right now, as long as you're in your case, the UK, and in my case, the US, and you're on this side of the dirt and breathing, there's nothing you can't get through. And the key is to never get up and to say no more. The key is to make the commitment, say no more, and then take one small action. And I think it's important for people to hear this too. It's probably, we can talk business and entrepreneurship all day, because I have multiple businesses and love me some business, but I think this is the crux of it, right? Is you've got to build that foundation. And I think so many people who are in it, they're in the pain, they're in the fear, they're in the anger, they're in the worry, is they think they're alone. And a lot of us isolate, and isolation is the enemy of excellence. And the first thing people need to know is they're not alone. If you're thinking it, experience it, or have been through it, or made the mistake, millions of others have done the same thing. And at that point, you got a choice. Do you continue going down, and where does it end? I mean, it can end really, really horrifically. Or do you draw a line in the sand and say, no, I'm not alone. Do the most courageous thing that you could ever do. Ask the right person for help, not people in pain. You don't go to the post office for bread, but ask the right person for help. Know that you're not alone. You're not alone. You're not the only one facing it. Stop isolating, ask for help, draw a line in the sand, say no more, and then move forward. And I think the fear of me potentially losing my life, because I love to live. I loved business. There was so much about my life I loved. I just didn't like the voices in my head. I didn't like the anger in my head. I didn't like that I never felt like I could be me, that I never felt I was enough, man. And I'm telling you, if you looked on I was a principal at a huge firm.
Was this at Deloitte still?
I had moved on to other firms. So I was still in one of the larger firms in the United States. I was the international practice leader, principal at the firm, had a lot of people working for me and a lot of clients. But again, that's a magnifying glass. That was just all of that stuff is super important. And I am in the success business, man. I mean, that's the business that I'm in, is success. But the point is, I need people to have a strong foundation of clarity, of confidence, of courage, of self-confidence, self-respect, breathe in, breathe out, not letting other people who don't matter, and continually moving forward. But the point is, you have to make the commitment. You have to ask for help. You have to know you're not alone. And you have to make one small little bitty step forward. And I'm telling you, like myself, twice, and I hope to get people before they get to that. I want people to call me and say, hey, man, I'm at this amount in my revenue and I want to be at this amount. I'm like, hell yeah, let's go get it. But we got to make sure that we've got to have that strong foundation, because you have holes in your foundation. I could give you a 10 million, 20 million, 30 million pound check, and you're still going to be miserable. You can have more stuff, you can experience more life, but if you're angry, insecure, worried, judgmental, fearful, that money's not going to take that away long term. So nothing, I'm off my soapbox now.
So I think you've given such invaluable advice to people there. For you, you've spoken a few times about this foundation. Can you elaborate as to what you mean by build that foundation? Someone's there, they feel they're isolated, they're lonely. And I know so many people there. I've been there myself, where I feel as though I can't turn to people. I don't really have friends. My friends are too far away. I only see them infrequently. And day to day, and the way how I visualize it is, you're by yourself. It's Tuesday afternoon. You're just getting on with work. You look outside and you think, where am I? Who am I? What am I doing?
Yeah.
Where would you go if you were that person who thought, I'm by myself, I feel lonely?
Yep. And I got to be super vulnerable and transparent, Joe. The further you go on this journey, whether it's business leadership, entrepreneur, and certainly self-development, professional development, leadership development, and success development, it gets even more lonely. And so we have to make the choice to not be lonely anymore. We have the choice. We need to make the choice of being okay with being alone without being lonely. And I would bet 95% of this planet, look at COVID and the pandemic, they just can't be alone. And the moment that you can be alone without feeling lonely is a really powerful thing. And let's be clear, friendship is hard. It takes three things to have a friend. And then I'm going to get to tools of what would I do. The first thing, I'm going to give you the actual tools of what would I do if I felt that way, because I have felt that way. I do feel that way. I am the founder of 2 businesses and have a lot of employees counting on me. We have a lot of members in the legendary member group counting on me. I have huge amounts of leverage of time, money, and energy into the marketplace that pulls on me every single day. And not many people have the same problems and pains that I have. And they sound like first world pains and problems, but they're problems nevertheless. And I just went on a diatribe there. So let me get back to what I was going to say is, you asked me what I would start the foundation. I was going to go somewhere else, and then I forgot what I was going to say. That's very much a thing that I do. But the first thing that I would do is, okay, what do I like or not like about my life? Oh, here's what I was going to say real quick, because people need to understand what it takes for friendship. Number one, you have to have proximity to that person. It's really hard. Like you said, your friends are a long ways away. It's hard to, and I get that. My friends are a long ways away. Well, I live in the middle of nowhere, Georgia, in the southeast United States. So you have to have proximity, and then you have to spend time with those people. And for them to be a close friend, you have to spend almost 200 plus hours with that person for them to, quote, become a close friend. That's why so many people either fall for or have friends or have romantic interludes with the people they work with, because it's time and proximity. The third thing you need for friendship is energy. And as your energy changes, I want everybody to hear this, because this is where the loneliness comes here. As your energy changes, as you start progressing, as you start developing your heart muscle, your mind muscle, your soul muscle, as you become more courageous, self-confident, clear in who you are, where you're going, and who's coming with you, it gets even more lonely, because your energy and your boundaries and the standards that you set will be so much higher than most of the human beings on earth. So you don't want to tolerate any of the bullshit. You don't want to tolerate any of the nonsense. You don't want to tolerate any of it. So that makes it even more lonely. So the first thing I would do is figure out what's making me lonely. Is it lack of humans? Is it lack of success? Is it lack of self-awareness? How do you feel? Are you angry? Are you worried? Are you insecure? What in your life is missing? And if you're lonely, it's probably humans. And for me, and this is not a shameless plug, the whole reason I established the community of Legendary for entrepreneurs and leaders to do business and life with is so people can have a place to come to weekly and throughout our experiences throughout the year to come for community, to do business and life with, to gain and give wisdom. And so that they're not alone. They've got a community. We get together all the time. We share our struggles. We share our opportunities. We share our goals, and we give and gain wisdom. So for me, you've got to figure out what you're missing. And the only thing fear hates is action. And you got to go take action. So whatever you're missing in your life, if it's a community, who are the pack of wolves you want to run with, man? And go find those. Go join a community. There are people like, I don't want to pay for friends. I cannot not afford to pay for friends. I cannot not afford that, because I don't want to go waste my time, energy, and attention dating every human being out there for a friendship, hoping I find the unicorn that wants to make a difference in business, that's into professional development, that cares about who they are, that wants to make an impact and a legacy, because those humans are rare. So I invest my money, my time, and my energy into groups, into humans that are just like me, that will hold me accountable. And when I invest my time and money and my energy into something, that means it's valuable to me. And so I go out, I would start working on your heart muscle. There's a lot of ways to do that. B, start working on your mind muscle. Your heart muscles, your self-confidence, your self-awareness, your clarity, your courage, head up, shoulders back, not being a people pleaser, not letting people that don't matter. But I would make one small change or choice if I was alone. I would see where the people I want to be hang out. I would see where the people I am want to be. And I promise you, they're in your community. They're all over your community. They're near you. Find out where they are and take the courageous step and take an action and go do something about it. That's what
I love that. Honestly, I love that. And I want to touch upon something we spoke about before we went live. Travel. You said you love traveling. I love traveling. I'm wearing a Brazil top right now. I meant to bring my other top. I forgot it. But what I found, so early this year, to give you the TLDR, I spent 5 months in South America. And I find a lot of people find traveling really daunting. And I'll go from place to place. And we often talk about social batteries. And I'll go from place to place and I'll figure out how much of my social battery do I want to use? Because I believe what you say, energy. Energy is one of our most important, if not our most important resource and asset.
Yeah.
It's the way how we intentionally deliver with stuff. It's how we go it's how we lead with life. But I will go from place to place, and I will know when I go to a place, how much energy do I want to put in here? And as you said, it's about action. Whatever is going on in our lives, if our life isn't going well, The only thing that's going to get us out of it is action. If we sit down when life isn't going well and we wallow in our own pity, we do nothing, nothing's going to change. We all have friends and family who are those people who perpetually want to lose weight. Okay, man, what are you doing to lose weight? Yeah, I'll go to the gym next week. And it's like, okay, well, what are you eating? Yeah, I'll stop. It's like, and I mean, I've been there as well. Don't get me wrong. So I'm not
All
looking
of us
for
have. All of us have.
from the top of the skyscraper, but it's a case of you don't want to turn around and just always push it forward to tomorrow or say, I'll do this eventually. And I actually, I'll give you a bit of a sidetrack here. My brother's 7 years younger than me, so he's 23. I'm 30. We were talking, he's applying for jobs, he's looking. And I said to him, how's it all going? And he's moving at a tractor's pace. And I just said, listen, man, do you know what's going to happen? The next 7 years are going to go by. You're going to be 30. You're going to look back and say, what just happened? 10 years have gone by. What do I have to account for it? And you do a bit of an assessment and you look at the good, the bad, the ugly, things that I don't try to live in regret, things you wish you could have done again. And then hopefully you have the opportunity to then make those transitions and those changes with wisdom heading into your 30s and beyond.
Yep.
And I think, and he said something to me, oh, I'll start my 5 till 9 when I start my 9 till 5. And I said, if you're not doing that now when you've got the opportunity to do it, work on your own business, work on other things, then why will you do that in the future? Because you are a reflection of the habits you've done previously, of what you're doing right now. So how do you expect that one day you're going to wake up in a year's time when you're making money, when you're tired, you're working all of these hours, you're commuting into the office, and then you're going to make that change? If you're going to make that change ever, it's going to be today. But what you're talking about, loneliness and action, I think it's so prevalent. And I think for anyone who is in that lonely phase, as you said, joining a community, stuff like we were talking earlier, jiu-jitsu, run clubs, book clubs, entrepreneur communities. And the great thing about modern society now is a lot of these things are low cost or free. The cost is your energy to put yourself out there, is your time. And it's always the case. The first step is the hardest. Going into a new room with 20 new people you've never met before is scary for most people. But
Yeah,
it's just
sure.
about going in and realizing, actually, these people don't really care about me. And if I don't turn up next week, no one's really going to remember, oh, do you remember that guy Tommy who came here once before, a year ago? What happened to him? No one's going to say that. I'm curious. And there's a nice little bow to wrap everything up. I want to talk back to Tommy, 19 years old, just got out of prison. He's done his time there. He's met Tony. What's the one golden rule for life you'd give him?
One golden rule, I would say participate in your own rescue. And if I move to my right a little bit, there's a reason. I don't know if this will be on video for your audience to listen to, but if not, there's a sign behind me that says participate in your own rescue. And what does that mean? That means there is no white knight. There is no magic pill. There is no quick fix. There is no one, especially no damn politician, that is going to come save you and change your life. I don't care where you live in the world. If you're outsourcing to someone else, you are losing. But you have to, it's intentional action, right? You have to participate in your own rescue. And for me, what an incredible analogy for life. I used to do some extreme whitewater rafting at some of the most dangerous rivers out there. And I remember asking a guide one time, we were going down one of the top 10 most difficult rivers in the world. I mean, 2 people had died that month going down this river.
Where was it?
Firemen. It's called the Golly River in West Virginia. It is brutal. It has 5 plus rapids. It's in the same category as the rivers of Africa. I mean, it's internationally known. And 2 firemen trying to save someone the week before passed away in the attempts to save someone. And I asked the guy, I was like, hey man, if I fall in this river in one of the worst spots, what do I do? And the first thing he says is follow the light, man, which means you're drowning and dead. And I was like, no. Let's not follow the light, my friend.
I've heard this from you before, actually.
Yeah. And he goes, you've got to turn over, look for the rope, feet up, head up. If you can't find the rope, you have to do your best to swim/paddle/wade to your rescue. And for me, it's the best analogy for life. If you don't like the way you feel, tomorrow never comes. And it's easy when you're young. You think you're invincible. You think, when I get here, it's your friend, your brother. When I hear that, I'm hearing, well, I'm going to wait till I get in shape to start exercising. And I'm like, well, that makes no damn sense. And again, the only thing
the input creates the output, and he's looking for the output without the input,
which is impossible. And it makes sense. And so for me, participate in your own rescue would be the answer. But there's something that it's not just action. Because action for action's sake is you went a long way, but you went the wrong way. You have to have intention. That's where there's so many people in my community goes, where I'm going to go pray for it. Well, prayer is not action. That's the intention. I'm putting it out into the world or to my God or to the inner universe or whatever you believe in. I'm praying for an outcome. That's the intention. The universe, God, has heard that. But you have to go take the damn action to get it. No one's going to give it to you. You haven't earned anything. No, you don't deserve anything. You got to go earn it. No one's going to give you anything that you don't earn. You deserve nothing except freedom. That's all you deserve. Everything else you got to go earn. And so you've got to set the intention. What do I want my life to look like? How do I want to feel? What kind of girl do I want out of my life? Do I want to stand there confidently? Do I want to let people who don't matter? Or do I want to know who I am, where I'm going, who's coming with me? You have to set the damn intention in all phases of your life. And then you got to take small baby actions. And the problem, man, is we are living in a war of mass distraction. So it's easier to numb out on our phones. And there's a million different negative ways to numb out on your phones. It's easy to turn on the telly and watch a bazillion useless shows. It's easy to have that 15th beer. It's easy to have that 14th. It's easy to try to have sex into happiness. Won't work. None of that works, man. None of these quick fixes and short dopamine hits, they just don't work. And they're just distractions. And I think we get impatient because we're getting those instant dopamine hits from other places. But everything that matters in life, and you and I know this, and it's not cliche, it's just fact. You got to go work for it, man. And you got to go earn it. And it's one baby step, one small action. Know how do you want to feel? How do you want to look? What do you want to act? What job do you eventually want? What intention do I need to set today? What job do I need to get right now to get to that job? Or what do I need to do right now to do that? And so it's just intention and action, and fear hates it. But we get so caught up in what other people think. And man, the definition of power is when you could there's like 10 people on earth that I give 2 flying flips what they think, man. 10. To me, that's power, brother. It might be 20 if I'm really being honest, because these are people I love and respect. On that list? What's that?
Who are a few of the people on that list?
I'll say Kay Joyner, Heather Breedlove, my wife. I really care what she thinks. Erica Moore, number 2 of my entire company. I care what she thinks because she's done the work. Tony Scarcelli, I care what they think. John Scala, Ryan Hopkins. I can reel them. I guess there's probably 20. These are the people, though, that are net givers. They have the same core values. They're working on themselves. They're making a difference. I didn't say they were rich. To me, success is about wealth, and money follows wealth. Wealth doesn't follow money, man. Money follows wealth, and wealth is about what you know, who you hang out with, what your habits are, what you create, what you want to create, and your assets. And you are your number one asset, and that is your number one wealth thing. So money follows wealth. These people are wealthy. Some of them aren't rich, but they're all wealthy, and they all are successful because they know what success means in their life. And success means something for them. So off my soapbox. I
want to ask you, that symphony that you went on there, what would you say your 3 core values in life?
So I think show up. I was 4 minutes late to this podcast today, and it drove me nuts. And So number one is show up. And I think if you want to be in the top 10% of life of all human beings, and this is such a low standard, but it's so true these days, show up and do what you say you're going to do and honor your commitments. It's literally that easy. We show up. My wife would say the Breedloves show up. If we say we're going to do something, we say we're going to help you, we say we're going to make an introduction, we say we're going to be somewhere, we're going to be somewhere, period. We show up. Honor your commitments and do what you say you're going to do. Number 2 core value is protect and defend this fort. That's a Breedlove core value as well. Protect and defend this fort. What does that mean? That means don't let negative humans, habits, toxic people into our business or our lives. I used to be a people pleaser and wanted everyone to love me and wanted to save everybody because I wanted to be saved. And you become a martyr and people will take from you. They will use you. They will abuse you. So we put up big walls. You have to earn your way into our castle. You have to earn your way into our businesses, but you want to be a friend of the Breedloves, you're going to have to earn your way into it. And so, and the last thing I would say is addicted to excellence. And what does that mean? We want to set the standard. We want to be the standard. We are allergic to mediocrity, laziness, apathy, entitlement, and victimhood. Hell no. Mediocrity is not a standard. Not everybody gets a damn trophy, period. We want to be addicted to excellence. We want to constantly be going. We want to set the standard. Mediocrity is not acceptable. Division and hate is not acceptable. We want to set the standard, so we're addicted to excellence. So show up, protect and defend the fort, and addicted to excellence. I'll give you some. I want to celebrate my experiences. I want to be authentic. I want to have extreme ownership. And so these are other core values that we have as well. So there's core values that we have as a family, and there's core values we have a business, and they're pretty much aligned. And so I just want to be authentically me as well. And so, but the one core value that I think I struggle with the most is celebrating our experience, because I'm on to the next thing. And I want to be where my feet are. I want to look back on how far we've come as a family, as a human, as a business. So I'd say that's the one that I'm struggling with the most. And we also, in our family, we've been humbled too many times. We have a whatever it takes attitude. I'm not better or less than. I just whatever it takes, man. And so those are. I gave you the top 3, but there's you a whole subsection as well.
Beautiful. Talking about business now, and I think a few people are probably listening thinking, cool, but what does Tommy actually do? What's he done? You give and we're so far in now, but this is it. I love these rabbit holes. Could you give people a bit of a summary as to what businesses you run, where they're at? You mentioned rough headcount, but what the goals of the business? What's a bit of a timeline there?
Yeah, so I'll give you my former life, and this gives me a quote street cred. Is I was in large financial consulting, public accounting, mergers and acquisitions. I was in the financial world, not investment, not your personal investments, a corporate, profitability, efficiency, buying and selling companies, accounting, that stuff. I was in it for 20 years and rose all the way to the top. Even when I had my destruction at 36, I never planned on leaving that world. And when when I started working on me, my career did this. And eventually I became a shareholder, board of director, owner. And so I have that background. So I have a financial background. What do I do now? I own 2 companies. I'm the co-owner of what's called the Mountaintop Lodge. It is a boutique hotel with a high-end restaurant called Wit and Wisdom, 3 bars. It is probably one of the most beautiful hotels in the north part of the state that I'm in. And so we are in the experience and hospitality business in both of my businesses. So number one, and that's my wife's passion and baby. So I am the co-founder. She is the CEO and visionary and leader there. So that's number one. Number 2, and this is my baby. I built a company called Legendary. And it is a community first, a community of ambitious, high achieving business leaders and entrepreneurs, or aspiring business leaders and entrepreneurs who want to make a difference in their business and their success and their leadership, and just as important and just as a priority in their most important relationships and in their lives. And how do we do that? We run mastermind programs. We do these world-class experiences. We run business conferences, retreats, adventure experiences. We want Legendary to be the home where high achieving business leaders do business in life. And so every week we get together to give and gain wisdom on success, leadership, world-class content, life stuff, relationships, so we don't have to walk this journey alone. We get together 4 to 6 times a year in multiple different formats, whether it's a business format, a success format, a personal development, building that foundation, that clarity, that mental, emotional muscle. We require our top level people. By the way, if you want to join our highest level program, you're going to do that foundational work. You're going to be world-class and badass internally and externally. So we require people, we vet them. But if you're going to join our highest level program, you're going to go through a 4.5-day vacation of just clarity and mental and emotional fortitude. So again, it's an entrepreneurial and leadership community. The power of Legendaries and the wisdom, collective wisdom and experience of our members. I am the head facilitator. We have other facilitators. That company is nationwide. And I currently have clients in Manchester, so we're going across pond as well. So, and I used to do, in my former life, I used to be in London all the time. And so we're expanding. We sell a lot of books in the UK. We sell a lot of books in Australia, and we sell a lot of books in Canada. We need to get our community in there. The good news is a lot of our mastermind programs are done virtually because they are nationwide and somewhat international. We did have Australian members. The 13-hour time difference got in the way. But eventually we're going to have centers of influence and economies of scale all over the world. And we want to be the place that people call home to do business in life with. And so that's Legendary, brother. That's what I do now. And it's based on the book that I wrote, Legendary. I'd love to send you one across the pond, Joe. It's a Wall Street Journal and USA Today bestseller, hoping to get to the New York Times here in the very near future. So yeah, it's all based in the principles. So that book is about self-leadership and protecting and defend your asset, money, purpose, time, really your time, energy, and attention, all the things that humans want. That's what Legendary is about. We're creating a book right now called Legacy. It's about leading others better so that you can make them more successful. And so that's thank you for letting me share about 3 or 4 minutes of what I do for a living now.
So much you've delved into that. When someone's joining, what are the characteristics? What are the prerequisites you're looking for in someone? When you see someone walking through the door, they've signed up, what is making you look at them and think, I want you to be a positive energy force within this community, not an energy drain? What are you looking for?
And so we have high standards on that. It's probably the best question I've been asked. Number one, we talk about their dreams and their goals and their priorities. And when you let people talk about their dreams, goals, and priorities, really, really quick, just because I've done this now for 13 years, my BS meter, I don't know if that's a term, or the BS meter is pretty high. So we're looking for dreams. We're looking for goals. We're looking for a growth mindset. And there's questions we ask for that. But most importantly, we're looking for net givers, especially we have 2 groups forming a third one now. One group's called the League. Those are for your 25 to 35 to 40-year-olds who are world-class, who are doing it, who are kicking it. They have different pains. The most important thing, and then we have the inner circle, which is our top. These are more seasoned entrepreneurs. It has nothing to do with age. It has to do with what you need right now, right, in your life. Mm-hmm. It has nothing to do with where you are. It has to do with what you need and who you need to be around. But the most important thing we're looking for is net givers. And I'm telling you, 5 times a year, we have to ask someone to leave, or we just don't renew their membership, because we're looking for people who want to give wisdom. We want people who know that the more they give, the more they provide, the more they lean in, the more they serve, the more it's going to come back to them 10x. So many people just want access, especially to our highest level members, because they want that access and they just want to take from them. So we have to really watch the net giving. We have all these leadership principles, brother, and I'm just going to, these are them. These are the things that we require. And I'm going to just
Share them with us, please. I'd love for the
yeah,
audience to be able to.
I'm going to tell you, number one is these are the things we're looking for, and these are the things we enforce. We call them the legendary leadership principles. Is number one, you got to lead with love. That means that's not the woo-woo, touchy-feely, we're going to rub each other and all that nonsense. It's none of that BS. It's about setting the standard. It's about boundaries. It's about kindness, not niceness. Kindness is giving, niceness is earned. It's about seeing the best in everybody, but it's also saying, I'm going to lead with love and I'm going to set the standard and I'm never going to lower it. This is my boundary. So that's leading with number two, curious first, critical second. We want people who are curious. Number three, probably the most important, there's no most important, be a net giver. Number four, be a learner rather than a knower. Number five, you got to practice full presence listening, because we're talking about business priorities, life challenges, business challenges, leadership challenges. You got to practice full presence listening. I don't need people who think they're the smartest people in the room. We want people who are sharing wisdom and not good advice. That's the next one. You got to share wisdom and not advice. Wisdom comes from experience. Advice you read in a book or some damn politician or some talking head told you. Wisdom comes from experience. We need your wisdom, and we need to know what we hope for to do is avoid that $1,000, $10,000, $100,000, $1 million mistake. Yes, we want to help you grow in every way possible, but we also want you to avoid the mistakes that we've made in business, life, and relationships. So we share wisdom and not good advice. This is an important one. We win commitment. I'm a big fan of competition. I win, you lose, you win, I lose. I'm okay with that. That's how you grow. But in this group, we want a we win commitment. What does that mean? You are rooting for everybody and everyone to be successful and happy. So if you want to have your success at the expense of others, if you want to be the top of the food chain because you want status, we're not the group for you. I can introduce you to groups there. Yep. So we win commitment. This is a big one. This is a weird one, but we practice this. Honor immersion. So wherever we're at, if we're in a retreat or an adventure experience or in one of our big business and leadership conferences, or we're on a mastermind, you're there. You're not on your damn phone. You're not on your email. You're immersed in what we're doing. And you'll love this one because we've already talked about it. Our final two leadership principles: take intentional action. You must set the intention and take action. We don't want people who just talk. They've got to walk. And final, never give up. So we enforce, that's how we run all of our programs. That's how we lead with love. And by the way, when we hear negative mindsets or negative energy or taking or jealousy, our members and our facilitators and myself, we'll call each other out. And those leadership principles that I just read, I want my team, our people, our members, my friends, and our stakeholders to call me out. The one I struggle with the most, candidly, and man, if my number two, who's Erica Moore, doesn't call me out on a daily basis, you're not fully present. You're not listening. You're not listening. So we hold each other to these standards. And so those are the things we're looking for. That made it simple, didn't it?
That's beautiful. I want to. There's so many philosophies that can be unpacked there. You said be intentional. I don't have my journal with me, but I have a word of the year every year, and it's intention. And in this journal, every page that I write out, I set my revenue target for the year. And then I write down intention or intentional or be intent, whatever. It's just that word elaborated. Intentionality doesn't matter. But I've focused on that word. I've gravitated towards it. And I think, as you said, and I was fortunate enough to turn 30 this year. And it was I don't want to say a renaissance, but it was a real introspective self-reflection piece. It looked at, as I said, looking back at the decade of your 20s and being grateful for what has happened. And I think it's so easy for people to look back and think, I should have done this better, or this wasn't good. But wow, as you said, the background that you grew up in, you weren't in absolute poverty. Maslow's hierarchy of need was covered at the bottom foundation. You had shelter, had food, same as me. But there's that aspiration for getting to that next level. And it's as you said, it's never giving up. And this is one thing that I love about entrepreneurship. And I speak a lot about chosen suffering. You've got unchosen suffering in life, stuff that just happens to you that you can't control. the death of someone around you, an injury that pops up out of nowhere, a black swan event like COVID obliterates your business,
Yeah.
and you've got chosen suffering. The things that you do, whitewater rafting, is chosen suffering. You're putting yourself in a fucking dangerous position, but you're choosing to suffer. And then when you finish that experience, whether you fall out of the canoe or kayak, or you make it to the end unscathed, that is chosen suffering. Doing jiu-jitsu, whatever it is, hiking a mountain like you did. And I loved seeing that experience. And one of the best things I've ever done in my life. Have you ever been to Guatemala?
No, I haven't, but I know
You need
Guatemalans.
to go.
That's what I hear.
There's a volcano there called Acatenango. Are you
Yes.
familiar with it?
Yes.
Wow. This, you hike for probably 6-7 hours. You do this hike, and then you can hear it's like the belly of a beast. You hear the volcano rumbling, and you're hiking, and then you take this right, and everyone just stops talking because this is insane. So you see this volcano, and anyways, you can choose. I'd say probably 30% of the group chose to do the summit, so you can get to the viewpoint, see it, and you can choose to do the second hike up again. It's called Fuego, on fire, and then you go on this ridge, and it's black volcanic ash, and it is the closest experience I've had to feeling like you're in space.
Oh,
You
wow.
feel like, I don't know, you're on Mars or the moon, and I did this hike in a period of my life where I really needed some reflection. I needed to understand who I wanted to be, where I wanted to get to, and I'm on this ridge, and I look over to my left, and I just see the sky is just dark, it's black, and I look over to my right, and the sky is probably in about 4 different colors, and then in the middle you just see this volcano erupting and the sun setting, and the view is incredible. And anyone who I know who's done it, for me, it's a top 5 life experience of mine.
Oh, wow.
Then you hike back on over, you go there, everyone's just sitting on the ridge. You've just got volcanic ash just kind of blasting in your face. You're probably about 400 or 500 meters away, but in a safe spot. The volcano is erupting to the other direction. And it's one of these experiences that you look at and you think, that's chosen suffering. It's hurt to get here, but wow, is the view worth the climb? And I think if people can continuously put themselves in those states, and I think community, as you said, knowing that you're doing something, you're with other people who will see the work you've put in and say, hey, celebrating other people's wins. And you were saying you struggle with that. You don't celebrate your wins enough, but having people there and saying, hey, well done. That is, not everyone lives for external validation, but I think a lot of people, if they just had someone pat them on the back and say, hey, I saw what you did there, that's excellent. And I think for me, I've continuously invested in communities, and that's what I love. Some of my best friends now are people who I've met in communities because they will make 5 times more than I will, but I am so happy for them. And it's not a zero-sum game. They're just further up the mountain than I am.
100%.
I'm just trailing behind.
100%. And I think there's real data, and I just read this, and forgive me, I'm not going to remember the source, but just having like-minded people around you, you've said it already in this podcast. Show me your habits and the people you spend the most time with, and I will tell you your future. I'll tell you your future. But there's something powerful about like-minded people who just believe in you, and they see things sometimes that we can't see, and they see our untapped potential. They see our mask, our BS that we put out to the world. They see so much of us, but what they see in us is their untapped potential. And when people believe in you and you're around people, no matter where they are on the status or success scale, and that's a different for every single human. It's really important to be around those type of people, and they become infectious. I think when we invest our time, energy, attention, and definitely money into community, we're really putting ourselves in the front of the line quickly, as opposed to just wandering the ocean looking for a fish. we're fishing in the right pond. And so I'm 100% with you. I created this because I've been like yourself. I've invested and been in so many communities and had so many executive coaches and people who have helped me to get where I'm going to get. And I took the best of all those things. And we have other aspirational things we want to do and put them into my thing. Oh, by the way, I just found our company core values. I'm going to do them fast. Addicted to excellence, whatever it takes, extreme ownership, authenticity above everything else, fiercely protect and defend our fort, so celebrate our experience. And so those are our company core values. But I'm with you, man. And it's critical who we surround ourselves, but it's also critical for us to set the standard and never lower the standard, especially to ourselves. Remember I said you got to show up and honor your commitments and do what you're going to say you're going to do. You also need to do that for yourself. And that's the person we let down the most is ourselves. And so I think that's important for people to know as well.
Tommy, I think you've summarized and wrapped this podcast up in the most excellent way. Where can people find you and what's next for you?
There's so much. We're launching a legendary app. I'm so excited about that. Super, super excited. So it's going to be an app for all levels of our communities. It's going to have visualizations, meditations, content, legendary leadership information, success information. It's going to be our home for all of our communities and all of our content, all of our videos and members, et cetera. So I'm super excited about the app, and I'm going to tell people how to reach me in a second. Also, I'm excited in end of February, early March, we have our biggest business and leadership event of the year. This year, it's going to be in Atlanta. We're coming home. It's going to be in Atlanta, Georgia. Last few years, it's been in Florida. People love going to Florida. They love the ocean. They love the warmth. That's where people want to go. And so this year, we're bringing it home. And it's we're going to have 4 incredible guest speakers, a whole lot of connecting, a whole lot of leadership. It's called Your Life, Your Legend. It's all about success, connection, networking, and business, and just being around people like that. Super excited for that in late February. But if you want to know more about what we do and who we are, just email me directly. I have some really strong things about email, but you can email me directly at tommy@livelegendary.today. The good news is there's 2 other people in that account. Things never get missed there. Sometimes when you go to our LinkedIn or our webpage or Instagram and the web, if you want to see all of our events and what we do, it's livelegendary.today. But if you want to email me directly, it's tommy@livelegendary.today, and we will get back to you, and we will hopefully know your dreams, goals, and intentions, find a community for you, find an event for you. If we're not the right place, we have so many other friends in this space too around the planet. So we'll find something for you. But the key is making the choice, saying no more. Will I do this? Yes to this, taking intentional action and going and doing it, man. And just, they say Rome wasn't built in a day, brother, but it was built brick by brick. And then all of a sudden there was a Colosseum. So there you have it.
Powerful. Tommy, thank you so much. I would love to get you on again.
Yeah, Joe, just say when, man. We talk all things business. I mean, we threw down today on life. Let's go business next time.
Let's go. Part 2 coming up another time. Tommy, thank you.
You got it, my friend. Be well.